Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Time for my next review in the Team Up Rewind review series. This time it is Wormhole, the second of the two SPD Dino Thunder team-ups. As you know, they did two different ones, one where the Dino Thunder Rangers traveled to the future and the other where SPD traveled to the past. And this was the second one, and it does take place after it because the SPD Rangers do mention having met the Dino Thunder ones at first. And I do like this one. I think it's a fine team-up. Even though both of them are kind of one episode more rushed premises, this one always felt a little more rushed to me. There was just something weird about it. Maybe, I remember it just being kind of weird in the way it debuted back in the day, and I think it had leaked, and I don't know, just something always off about it where it almost feels like a fun bonus webisode, even though it's the normal length of an episode and everything else. But kind of like, in a way, the Lightspeed Time Force one. Although I like this one a lot better than that one because I think there's a lot more interactions and a lot more of a solid team-up feel to it. But both of those just kind of feel like short webisodes, like, hey, we did a bonus webisode. That's just me, though. I'm not sure why, but it just always felt like that. Not, like I said, though, the placement is weird, too. Like, I rewatched it on Netflix, and it's on 38. It's episode 38, like finale, and then this is theirs, 38. I think that's the production order. I don't know. I feel like the production and showing order already confuses fans enough as it is. Anyway, that's not what this is about. So basically, Grum's plan is to go back to the past and conquer Earth before SPD there is to resist him. And there just happens to be a wormhole there for him to do that with. And it's really funny because he goes in the wormhole to do this before the Rangers really know what his plan is. And Kruger and Kat call the Rangers in, and the Kat call, get it? They call the Rangers in and they're like, oh, Grum's gone. And they're like, yeah, Earth is saved and we can retire. I'm like, I forgot about that. I thought it was a dumb reaction. And like, why are you so gullible and just ready to quit? I don't know, it was stupid. But basically they then devise what Grum's trying to do. So they only send 3 of the Rangers back just so that they can leave the others in the present just in case there's another attack or a double attack or whatever. So you have 3 of them going back, and then it's 2004 Dino Thunder times, except Ethan has a haircut he never had. That's like the only thing they couldn't fix. But everything about that felt pretty good. It's kind of weird because this is the Disney era, but within the Disney era there's like the Ninja Storm Dino Thunder era and then the Kalish era. Kalish! So, you know, there is even though they're the same era, there's a little bit of a tone difference, at least for me, between Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, and SPD through RPM. Or I guess there's also a third era, which is RPM. Anyway, eras. The point about this is I think they did a good job of making it feel like Dino Thunder. You know, we went to the same school. It's not like they had to do a weird set because they tore down the school since it's a real place. They still used the music, the fight music, and I think even some like the royalty-free music they used. So they made the Dino Thunder characters and scenes feel like we transported back to them, except for Ethan's hair, which was a total something. Travel to the past and they're like, oh hey, we met you before, and then for whatever reason at one point they're like, oh, but you can't help us. Like, why? They're Rangers? I don't know why. There's just stupid moments like that. I'm like, there's no reason why they can't help. I guess if they got killed then history would be messed up, but that didn't seem to be the reason. And Grum's there and he recruits Zeltrax, which is also kind of cool because I like seeing the villains work together. It would have been neat if we could have gotten Mesogog for this, because I was thinking Mesogog probably wouldn't want to work with them, and there could be a cool clashing of goals, because Grum's goal is obviously, I want to rule the Earth like all the other sickos, and Mesogog's isn't, because he wants to do the whole prehistoric thing. And that could have been fairly interesting. Like, the thing about this episode is I think it would have made for a really good two-parter. I think both premises could have, but I was perfectly happy with history being a one-parter. But I think this one, if they had done something like with Mesogog and Grum working together and then fighting over their goals, they could have made for a really cool two-parter. But anyway, he recruits Zeltrax, and so Zeltrax is helping him, so we get him fighting with the Trubian forces and all that. And then eventually the other SPD Rangers do show up and join because they're worried, you know, like, well, you know, we're here to protect it, but if Grum succeeds, then none of this will exist. Although it's weird, like, wouldn't Grum know that at most points in the past, Earth is protected by Power Rangers? Like, I know it doesn't have the SPD organization and a presumable larger reach, but almost every year there's Rangers that were protecting on that year, or there's also Rangers that are still active. I mean, I guess, you know, I'm overthinking the premise a little bit. Like, I don't want them to stare at the camera and explain to me all this logic, but I just couldn't help but think of that. There's lots of cool pairings. Like, I think the Dino Thunder black suit and Kruger's suit look really good together, and like, I think it's just a cool matchup. And also, you can't help but mention that this team up, obviously we got Connor, Kira, and Ethan, but then we got Trent this time, which we did not have in history. But we also had Jeffrey Perazzo, voicing JDF just in the Dino Thunder black suit because JDF did not come back for it. And he actually did a pretty solid job. It's really funny because a couple of the lines, he sounds almost exactly like JDF, or at least a really close JDF impersonator. And other times it sounds just like him. Like when they're doing the "No One Gets Inside," I think it just sounds like the same person saying it. But still, this was leagues better than that trash they did in Making Bad. Like, why did they not even try to do this? Have Jeffrey Prazzo voice everyone. You gotta get someone that at least kind of sounds like him, even if it's like a poor imitation. At least try to do an imitation. Like, they didn't even try in Making Bad. This isn't about that. So everyone's there. There's lots of cool matchups, and Omega and Drago are two of my favorite suits, so it was cool to see those fighting together and all that. And there's some good stunt work. Again, I love the Disney era stunt work. And again, I love that they used the theme music from both series. We, of course, get our classic "No One Gets Inside" moment that everyone loves. Still, I prefer "Get Off My Truck," but it's still a funny, weird moment. Like, I don't know what the logic behind that was, because it's weird. Like, no one, okay. Anyway. I always just thought it was weird. And then, you know, they blow him up, and then my favorite thing actually of this is my favorite roll call, or roll call final saying, or however you want to say it. It's weird that they did the roll call after they blew up the guys, but at the same time, that actually makes the most sense, because when you think about it, them doing a roll call before the battle is stupid. There's so many things in Toku, when you think about it, are just stupid. Like, in real life, he'd be like, "Tyranno Ranger," and then the villain would just shoot him. Well, it makes more sense to do it afterwards, but it throws me because I'm not used to it. Anyway, my favorite post-roll call was when, after they all say their names, they say "Power Rangers, Defenders of Earth," which, yes, is cheesy, but it also sounds awesome, and I get chills every time I hear it. I think that's the best, like, unified team-up one. I wish they would have used that in other ones, because now it's like, "Rangers together, super dorks forever," and I'm like, God, I almost want to beat you up. Obviously, all the team-up ones we've gotten, whether it was like a, you know, a 2 team-up or like an anniversary type one, or where they had multiple teams, is always like a really absolutely top-tier dork-sounding phrase. And the Defenders of Earth one just sounded so cool and perfect for like 2 teams uniting. I don't know, maybe that's just me. And then they say farewell, and the SPD Rangers have to Men in Black them because they can't remember it to screw up the timeline. And the SPD Rangers are like, "Oh, it doesn't seem fair that they're not gonna be able to remember, and we are." And then Kruger's like, "I guess that's not fair." So he erases their memory and then his own. I'm not necessarily sure why they did that. Like, I could kind of see, like, I understand why they set it up in the show. He's like, yeah, so maybe you both don't remember it, but I don't see why he would do that. Or why did he do it to himself? I don't know. Like, again, I get why he did it, because it's like, it doesn't seem fair, so we'll all not remember it. But I still thought it was kind of dumb. I overall did like this team up. It did seem a little bit more rushed, and I don't know if clunky is the right word, but it just the pacing of it was a little bit strange for me compared to the other one. But I still found it to be enjoyable. It had lots of really cool moments and cool pairings, and we got a little bit more decent interaction between the teams compared to something like the Lightspeed Time Force one. I just bring that one up because these both feel the most condensed to me, and at least this one still felt like I got a good feeling for these 2 teams connecting that wasn't 100% shallow. But that's about it for this one, guys. What did you think of History and Wormhole? Which one is your personal favorite of the 2? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications from my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.